All right. So this last weekend, I went to Flesh and Blood Nationals, and I had a pretty good time. It was a lot of fun. I kind of started my nationals like journey trip, whatever, the week before, where I flew out to Vegas on Monday, last Monday, to meet up with the Metal Fab Token guys, the rest of the squad, to test for the upcoming tournament. We spent like 3 days there, mostly drafting and playing constructed, trying to figure out what we were going to play. So I had been pretty set on playing Kano at this point. But before, when Mistvale had just come out, I was actually like entirely set on playing Enigma because she looked really cool. And I like to play blues. And I like to play, I think the chi mechanic's really interesting. And I just thought she was a really neat hero. And we were all under the impression that Enigma would crush Kano, right? So we're getting more and more spoilers, and I'm starting to work on Enigma with like a couple other people. And I basically shelved Kano in my mind at this point. We got Kindle, but like I initially started playing the card, and I was like, this just doesn't quite fit in like standard Kano. We'd have to change the way the deck's built, and I just don't know how to do that. And then we're just gonna lose to Enigma anyway, so let's just like not worry about it. And then enough Enigma cards came out that we actually got to build decks, and Julian Sniffin, another Kano guy, played some reps against an Enigma, which none of us had even done at this point. The cards weren't out yet, right? And he said, "Hey, I'm winning against Enigma, like every time." And we're like, "Wait, what?" Like we thought this was going to be a 0%er. And he's like, "Yeah, it turns out if they're just playing auras, you can just control the board and you can pitch stack them." And then you blow them up, and there's nothing they can do about it, because if they try to attack with auras, you can kill the auras and it ends their turn. And we're like, whoa. So we took Kano and practiced it against Enigma and found basically the same thing, that Kano was actually crushing Enigma, not the other way around. So the first thing we did was not tell anybody. We just tried to continue telling everybody that Enigma absolutely slaughtered Kano and not the other way around, right? Now, eventually, Enigma list got better, and the matchup got a lot closer and a lot more interesting, but we'll talk about that. But this kind of put me back on the Kano train, because a lot of the other top decks are very soft into Kano, right? Azalea is soft into Kano. We found out later that Zen, in its like build before Nationals, was not very good into Kano. A lot of other decks like that, just not very good into Kano. He has very little weaknesses. And then came Kindle. Tog from We Make Best made a video. You may have seen it. It's a great video. If you haven't, I highly recommend you watch it, where he starts testing Kindle and is just having an absolute blast with it. He just keeps telling you that you can't miss, blah, blah, blah. It's actually busted. And it is quite good. It adds a lot of like inconsistency to the deck. But the power level of the deck has gone up because of Kindle. However, you have to build the main deck differently, right? Like we talked about, you're less block 2 cards, send 2 cards until you combo, and now you're just not blocking much at all while you try to push as much damage and find your Kindles, get your potions out, and get everything going. But it's really fun because you get to play off the top of the deck more. You get to like kind of cook while you do it, and I really enjoy that. I think that's really fun. So we keep testing Kano to the point where we're like, okay, I think this is about the main deck we're going to play, and then we'll tweak it a little bit more as we get closer and we find out what we're going to play against. But my entire plan for this practice that we did the few days before Nationals was to get better at draft, because historically, I'm terrible at draft. I do really, really poorly. I always like do very well at constructed in these like big tier 3, tier 4 events, and then I bomb the draft portion, and I did not want that to happen. So I did a lot of online drafts, and then I showed up at the testing house, and we drafted like 4+ times a day, and I really put a lot of time and effort into it, like way more effort than I put into constructed. And I felt like I got pretty decent, but I never 3-0'd a draft. My biggest issue was that I just always seemed to be in whichever class was drafted the most. So if there was like 4 of Enigma drafted, 2 Zens, 2 News, I was always one of the 4 Enigmas. And then when I would like go and think about my draft again, I would think, well, I really don't know how I would have switched into anything else. I think I was in the deck I was supposed to draft. It just didn't work out. And that happened over and over and over again. I got super frustrated because I was like, I'm putting in all this work and I just like can't figure out what I'm doing wrong. So it's time to leave for Nationals. We head out. We do a little bit more changing of the Kano deck list. Peter and I are the two that are on Kano in the tournament. Let me show you guys what that deck list looked like really quick. So this is it. This is the main deck. We're back on like Spellfire Cloak because the games are quicker in the Kindle version. And the biggest difference is that there's no things like Swell Tidings and there's no Sonic Booms. Sonic Booms too many misses now with Kindle in the list. And we added things like Scenery Foresight and obviously the aforementioned Kindle. The deck is much more of a combo deck and less of a tempo deck that combos you at the end of the game, right? That's kind of like its whole thing now, is that it's just a really, really good combo deck. The sideboard has been changing, and this isn't the Nationals list. This is actually my Battle Hardened list, where I basically like put in 2 Swell Tidings and a Nourishing Emptiness, where before I had 3 Sink Belows. And then we have the bigger reds for things like Enigma and the Kano matchup, and then Bulls were our like sick tech that we really had a fun time with. And that's the list that we played, right? Or at least pretty close to it. And how it looked compared to other Kano lists, very similar. The sideboard was where things changed. So we show up and we start off with Constructed, and it's going very well for me. It's 4 rounds of Constructed, 3 rounds of Draft, and then day 2 is 3 rounds of Draft, 4 rounds of Constructed. You need to go X and 3, so you can only lose 3 over the course of the entire tournament in order to top 8, and I really want to top 8. So we start off the tournament, and it's going pretty good. I'm winning games. Kano's working. I play against Enigma, round 1, against Tyler Horspool. He's on an interesting version of Enigma that was just like worse into Kano than the normal version. Because his plan was just attack with auras, and so it did not go well for him. And then the next 2 rounds, I play against Zens that were like a little bit less fluid of deck lists than the more refined ones that ended up finishing up the weekend. So that was also very easy. In our testing with the like Zen list, not the ones that won Nationals, but like the other ones, the ones that came before, Kano was absolutely just killing Zen left and right, which is actually one of the reasons why I ended up on the deck. So I played against Enigma, went well. Played against 2 Zens, went well, right? And then my 4th matchup is the dreaded one. I run into Prism, unfortunately. AB2 Prism, it's less than a 5% matchup. Kano makes it a little bit, Kindle makes it a little bit better. It goes from like a 4 to a 5% matchup, maybe. But it's still like so bad, and I lose. So I finish out day 1 constructed portion 3-1, right? I'm actually feeling pretty decent at this point. I forgot to mention this, but I've been getting headaches. Like, I've always had headaches, right? I have like chronic headaches my entire life. But the couple days before the event started, I had really bad headaches for the 2 days before. And then I was really worried about waking up with a headache. And so when we were at like a liquor store connected to a restaurant that we went to, they had these like CBD THC ginger sodas. And I was like, okay, now I know that my headaches are caused because my muscles get really, really, really tense, and then I get a headache. So I want something just in case I get a really, really bad headache. So I got these THC CBD ginger sodas, right? Just in case. It's like, the whole thing is like 10 milligrams of THC. It's like not a ton. And I wake up with just a crippling headache. I wake up at like 6 a.m., and it's so bad that I can't even like look at my phone because the light hurts my eyes too much. So I go and I grab one of those ginger sodas and I pop it open and I start drinking it. I take my shower, drink my drink, get ready, and we start heading out, and I'm feeling like fucking dog shit. We head out and we actually walk to McDonald's to get like coffee and breakfast and stuff. I get like a chicken McGriddle, you know, breakfast of champions. But like as I'm eating this chicken McGriddle, I can feel the like THC ginger soda start to kick in or whatever, and I can just feel everything like loosen more and more and more, and I can feel my headache just like slowly fading. And by the time round 1 was called, my headache was gone. And like I can't explain to you how rare an event that is for me to wake up with a tremendous headache and then have it just like not be there anymore. That never happens to me. It's usually like if I have a really bad headache, it's going to ruin my entire day. I could have cried. I was like so happy. I was so worried my tournament was just over. I was like, oh, I just woke up with a headache and I just won't get to play the game. I'm just gonna have to leave halfway through and go lay down, and that's terrible. Did I work out today? I did. Yeah. But yeah, I was like, oh my god, this is magical. So yeah, finish off constructed 3-1, right? Feeling pretty good. Upset I lost to Prism, but like when you play Kano at a big event, we call it the Prism tax, where like it's expected that you're gonna run into Prism one time. Somewhere between 0 and 1 times usually. And you're not going to win it. So you lose 1 round for free, and that's called the Prism tax. We move on to draft. And I'm a little bit, yeah, Mo Bogsley in chat. He like right before the round, he like yells Prism at me to like scare me, and then I run into Prism. And he spent the whole rest of the weekend apologizing. But we sit down for draft, and I'm feeling a little nervous because like while I did put in so much work for drafting, I always ended up in the overdrafted class. Now, I think I'm actually very good at playing out the draft games in this format, in this part of the Misfield format. I think I'm very good at it. I also think I'm rather good at drafting the best cards for what I am playing. Like I think I draft good decks. I think I just end up in overdrafted classes no matter what it is, right? It's not that I like only drafted one class. I just always seem to ended up in the one that was overdrafted. So I'm really nervous about that. I sit down, we start drafting, and there's a thing in like Flesh and Blood drafts where, especially in Part the Mistveil, each class, so like Illusionist, Ninja, and Assassin, only has 2 commons, right? There's 2 Illusionist commons, 2 Assassin commons, and 2 Ninja commons. And so when you want to send a signal, you take one of the commons of that class and you pass the rest. So if the person to my right takes a Ninja common, I know that they took a Ninja common because I'm going to count them, right? I'm going to count them. And otherwise, it's like, oh, they took an equipment. I don't know what that could be. Oh, they took a Mystic card. That could be for any hero. I just don't know. They took a generic. That's literally for any hero. But I can count them. So I'm like drafting and I'm staying kind of open. And then like 6 picks into the draft, I start kind of taking some Illusionist cards because other classes have some of their commons taken out and no Illusionist commons have been taken out. We get to like pick 7. And I've just been taking Illusionist commons and sending basically nothing. Like I've been pushing 14. There's 14 cards in each pack. So I like pick 7, and it's the first time I have to push an Illusionist card that's actually playable to the person on my left. But it's like still not that good, right? It's like yellow Waxing Spectre or something. I don't know. It's not great. Sorry, it's not even yellow Waxing Spectre. That's too good. It was like yellow Spectral Manifestations or something. Maybe not even that. Blue Spectrum. I don't know. It was like not a very good card. Basically, what I'm saying is that there was only some Illusionist cards. There's no Illusionist cards missing, and I was taking all the good ones. So nobody to my left was Illusionist, right? And I just keep getting handed Illusionist cards, so I just keep taking them. Right? I'm going to build the sickest Enigma deck. I completely cut off Enigma to my left, and everything's going great. And then pack 2 comes, and I open it, and here's the thing. If you cut off a class to your left, because you passed left, right, left, like left for pack 1, right for pack 2, left for pack 3, if you cut off something in pack 1, that means in pack 2, it's going to come back to you. Because if no one is in Enigma to my left, then they pass the Enigma cards to me, and I get hooked up. But what I didn't know was that the guy to my left did not end up playing Zen, which I was trying to pass to him. He instead drafted a Trainwreck pack 1, is what he told me. Was that he just had nothing. And so in pack 2, he just started taking all the Illusionist cards that were coming my way because I cut off everyone to my left from Illusionist. So I was expecting to see all these sick-ass Illusionist cards, and they didn't make it to me because the guy to my left just decided to pivot and start taking them. He's like, wow, I guess no one's an Illusionist. So he starts taking it. And I'm like, oh man, this is not good because like clearly there's someone in the left, like 1 to 2 people who are taking illusionist cards. And so I don't get paid off the way I want to. But it's kind of okay because my Enigma deck is not a normal Enigma deck. My first pick in pack 1 was between a red, oh my god, what that was? Battlefront Bastion. 2 cards, 7, kind of a block 3, but kind of better than a block 3 at the same time. Thank you for the sub, Altano. Appreciate that. Premium in all 3 classes. Every single deck wants to run red Battlefront Bastion. You'll take as many as you can get, right? But I didn't pick it. Instead, I picked this card. Not this exact version. I picked Cosmic Awakening. Cosmic Awakening is a Majestic that blocks for 3. And it says it costs 9. So if your hand is Cosmic Awakening, then you need 3 blues. The rest of your hand has to be blues to cast it. Now it says if 1 chi was pitched to play it, Cosmic Awakening attacks for 10. If 2 chi was pitched to play it, Cosmic Awakening attacks for 15. And if 3 chi, so if all you do is pitch chi to play Cosmic Awakening, which really only happens in the late game, it attacks for 20, which is the entire life total of Blitz heroes, basically. Obviously they can block, but like that's kind of a lot. So I'm not quite drafting normal Enigma. What I'm drafting is a shitload of 3 blocks. I'm drafting 3 blocks, transcend cards that turn into chi, and basically nothing else. I got defense reactions. I got instants that prevent damage. And I have a couple like illusionist good cards, right? I got like a Waxing Spectre. I got a Spectral Manifestations. And I got some good attacks. But everything else, I'm picking just on its value to let me Cosmic Awakening people. So it's okay that I get cut off. It's not great because I end up missing a lot of the big reds that I was expecting, like the Waxing Spectres and the Spectral Manifestations that really carry your Enigma deck. But I still end up getting my pick of things like 3 blocks and stuff, right? Pack 3, same thing happens. There's 3 illusionists now, so I'm not getting completely fed, but I still get some stuff, and I get a lot of my 3 blocks, and I get a lot of my Transcend cards. I got my full City of Commitment. So I sit down against my opponent, and I'm going second. And they start attacking me. I drop my hand. And my hand is double Transcend card, Cosmic Awakening, random card. My opponent sends an attack. And I just block with 1 card. And I do not block with my Cosmic Awakening. And I do not flip my Transcend cards. I keep them. Because if I draw 1 more Transcend card, of which I have 4 more in the deck because I have 6, then I get to oh, sorry. I go first. My mistake. I look down at Transcend card, Cosmic Awakening, random card, and I just like Arsenal my Cosmic Awakening. It's like drop in the ocean and another Transcend card, right? So I can't even do it on my turn. I Arsenal Cosmic Awakening, and I'm like, come on. And I draw random red, Transcend card. My opponent attacks. I do not care. I take all the damage. On my turn, or like I drop in the ocean, I flip some chi, I don't use them. And then on my turn, I just send Cosmic Awakening for 20. And my opponent's like, what? I think he says, yep, that's 20. They take 1,000,000 damage and can never recover, and I get the win. We start off 1-0 in the draft. Let's fucking go. Next match, I'm worried about because it's the Enigma Mirror. And while my deck is incredible against stuff that that wants to be attacking me, like normal stuff where I can just like block a bunch, the Enigma Mirror is different because it's more a board control matchup, and I don't have the auras. I don't have the instant auras. I don't have enough. I don't have Spectral Manifestations red, that kind of stuff. And because I'm the middle Enigma, so I imagine the other 2 do have them. I'm playing the guy who is to my left, who took the Enigma cards pack 2 and stuff. And I'm doing my best just to keep parity. I got Cosmic Awakening in my arsenal, and I'm just trying to survive, right? I got a couple of the shuffle transcend cards. So I'm just like trying to get the chi back of my deck, shuffle it, get it as fast as possible. And about 2/3 of the way through the game, we do it. We draw chi, transcend card, yellow block 3, transcend card. We block, we flip our transcend cards. They have board control. Like, they're winning the game. I have to clear their auras. You know what clears auras really well? 20 fucking damage. We send Cosmic Awakening for 20. It puts us way in the lead, and we win the game. 2-0. 2-0 in the first draft of Nationals. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling absolutely great. Do I not play Awakening if I only have 2 energy? So the issue is if I draw Chi plus Transcend card, then I can't transcend the other one. So I would only be pitching 1 Chi. In that case, it's a 4-card 10, which is really, really bad, right? If I drew Chi blue, I would send it for 15, but I really want to send it for 20. So third match, I'm up against New. And I'm just playing the game. I put Cosmic Awakening in my arsenals. That way it can't get peeled off the top. And new games go really, like new Enigma games go really long. They almost always go second cycle. So my plan is just to force it to go second cycle. I'm just going to play as efficiently as possible. I'm going to let my opponent keep clearing my auras because I do not need them to win the game, right? And I'm just going to transcend my cards and pitch them and put them back in my deck. And at the end of the game, I draw up, and it's like, you know, I got 5 chi left in the deck and only 6 cards. So I draw chi and I just send it at my opponent and he fucking dies. So we 3-0 the first draft of Nationals by casting Cosmic Awakening for 20, 3 games in a row. How about that? How about that? Ended up day 1, 6-1, feeling really good, right? Feeling really good. I'm very confident and constructed. Limited went funny, but I felt like I did a really good job. And I felt like I played my seat tremendously, and so I'm very happy, and I'm feeling really good for day 2. Day 2, wake up, sit down, it's draft again, right? Draft then constructed this time. And this time, it's kind of the same thing, where I start drafting, except I'm drafting generics. And then third pick, I'm past Uphold Traditions, which is the premium Illusionist arm piece. Very strong signal that I should play Enigma. So I take Uphold Tradition, and for about 4 more picks, there's still 0 Illusionist commons taken out of the pack. They're not very good. They're like 3 blocks and stuff, but they're not tremendous. A lot of Vengeful Apparitions. Sigil of Solitude red, which I do like. So I'm like, oh, no one directly to my right is in Illusionist. So I'm just going to play Enigma again. So that's what I do. I keep getting past these Illusionist cards really, really late. And I'm really happy. Pack 2, get some stuff. You know, deck's kind of shaping up. The only issue is I don't have the big hitters. I don't have Waxing Specters or Spectral Manifestations and stuff. So what I have to do is pivot my strategy a little bit. I have to play a different kind of Enigma. So my Enigma deck, Enigma Balls, was focused on Vengeful Apparition, which is a ward 1 that blocks 3. But when you put it on the board, if it dies and it's the last ward that you control, you can play your next ward card at instant speed, basically. And I combine, and you can put a counter on it when you do. And I combine that with this one card that costs 0 and has ward 4 called Sigil of Solitude. If you have other ward cards on the board at the beginning of your turn, it blows itself up. So the plan is you get Vengeful Apparition on the board, you let it die, and then you play Sigil of Solitude at instant speed at the opponent's end of their turn. It comes in, ward 4 plus a counter, and then on your turn, you just attack with it. And it's 5 go again for 1 mana. It's incredible. Then you play another ward card. They have to attack you. You let that ward die. Try to keep your Sigil of Solitude alive. So that's the kind of Enigma deck that I end up drafting. And I have 1 Red Blanche and 2 Uphold Traditions that I just try to keep cycling Red Blanche in. We win 2 of the rounds, but unfortunately, we lose the 3rd one by 1 point of damage. 1 point of damage either way wins us the game. If I take 1 less or I deal 1 more. And I feel like there's probably something I could have done early in the game to put myself in a slightly better spot. But alas, we don't get there. So we get 2-1. And I'm ecstatic because right now that makes me 8-2. 8-2 with 4 rounds left to go. I can lose 1 and still make top 8. And I'm very confident in this Kano deck that we brought and how I've been playing it. 5-1 draft feels great. That's usually my like Achilles heel is limited. So to finish 5-1 felt incredible. Again, really happy with all the reps and times that I put in. I felt like it really paid off. Sit down for the next round of Constructed. It's against Chris Iali, and he's on the Via. I get to do the really cool thing where I like Aether Flare into Aether Quickening, which gives it go again, and it lets me play Blazing Aether from my hand for like 1,000,000 damage, right? Like 20 damage basically, and he just doesn't get there. The Leviathan Kano matchup's really interesting because they have Spell Void and AB, but low AB. So if they Blood Rush Bellows you in like the first 2 turns, you're not favored. But if they don't, then you are favored because they can't get cards in their graveyard fast enough to fuel their Dread Screamers and things like that because you don't attack into them. They have to pitch, not block, right? So I end up winning, and I am over the moon, 9-2. 9-2, I can still lose 1, and I make top 8 of the U.S. Nationals. 500-person event, right? 480 or something. Next round, I run into Andrew Rothermel playing KO, and he's on 0 Spell Void, which makes it a good matchup now with Kindle. And I get into a spot where it's time to combo off, and I need to find a blue to Ragamuffins into, and then I win the game. And I cast Centering Foresight, and I opt 3 cards, and they're all reds. It's red, red, yellow. It's red, red, yellow. And I take the yellow. We kill through anything that's not a blue. And he has the 3rd blue, which apparently he drew into off his like Pulping or Wild Ride or whatever earlier in the turn. And we don't get there. We die. Which is okay, though. It's okay. We're 9-3. If I win the next 2, I'm still in top 8. Next round, I'm playing On Camera against Reese. I don't know Reese's last name. Playing Bolton. Axes Bolton. Now, someone earlier in the tournament, earlier in the day, told me that there's an Axes Bolton, Reese, near the top tables that I might run into, and that to expect them to be on full fatigue with AB3 and 2 to 3 copies of Oasis Respite. So I board in my Sink Belows and my 3 blocks and plan to pitch stack it. Except Reese flips up Arcane Barrier 1, which means he probably doesn't have Oasis Respite either. Arcane Barrier 1, no Tunic, which means probably no Oasis. So I just try to stack anyway because I have the D-Reacts. And if you want to watch the game, you can. It's a fucking disaster of a game. But I take 1,000,000 damage in like the first 3 turns. I'm like at 19 by like turn 2 or something insane. Like I'm getting crushed. I'm getting rolled, and I'm blocking as much as possible. So I go, my pitch stack sucks. I'm taking tons of damage. Let's just play to kill my opponent instead. But then all my hands from then on out are either all blues or like all reds and yellows. So I just can't mount any kind of offense. I have to pull the trigger early, and he has the prevention effect that knocks me out of the game. Absolute smashing. I got crushed, and I'm out of top 8. Out of top 8 contention. There's 1 game left. If I win it, I likely top 16, which gets me a world invite and like a decent chunk of change. And so I play it. It's against Zen. Great matchup. I go second. I do some blocking. I keep Kindle Wildfire. I arsenal the Kindle, keep the Wildfire in hand, and I send a spell. I draw up on my turn, and I draw another Kindle. So my hand's like Wildfire, Kindle. My arsenal's Kindle, and then I draw red. And I'm like, damn, can't combo. So I block with my reds, and I just pass. I just IP2. It's like I'll just keep the Wildfire and the Kindle because all I need is like 2 blues or like a blue and a good red, and we can go. And I draw red again. And I block. And the next turn, I draw like yellow, red, and I block. And then I draw blue, and I Kano, and it's into like a Potion of Deja Vu or something. So I can't combo. So I IP2 myself for 6 turns, I think. For like 6 turns, I'm just blocking with 2 cards, keeping 2 cards in my hand. Blocking with 2 cards, keeping 2 cards in my hand, and just passing. Because all I need to do is combo. I have double Kindle. Like I'm just blowing my opponent out of the water, and I just don't get to do it. And then finally, I just have to pull the trigger, and he has Oasis, and my Wildfire for 8 hits, or my Wildfire for 7 hits for 0. And I lose the game. And in 3 rounds, I went from, in 3 rounds, I went from like feeling incredibly confident about my chances to top 8 to not even making top 32. And I ended up min cashing Nationals for $250, which felt really bad. Really bad. Just a tremendous start and just could not get there on the last 3 games. Not really anything I did wrong. I feel like I did the best I could with the information that I had, but the wheels just fell off. And that happens sometimes, especially when you're playing Kano, right? It's like the Kindle version of Kano is a higher variance deck, and sometimes it's just going to happen. Sometimes you get to beat your opponents for free with Kano, right? You just Kano and you hit the Tome on top or the blind Blazing Aether and you just blow your opponent out. But sometimes you get Kano'd, right? Things go wrong. It doesn't go the way you need it to go, and you lose the game. And that's kind of what happened here. So I just left the venue. It's just maulding. Me and Peter Bedensic, who also was X2 at the same time, and then also lost like all his last rounds. Just a rough day 2 for us. End of day 2. So we just go, we get some food, have a beverage, and we're just upset. We're just pissy. Get back to the hotel, fall asleep early, still mad. Not that mad anymore. I get over it pretty quick, but I was upset for like an hour, which is like a really long time for me. But it's okay. We have the Battle Hardened the next day. So I cut the sinks because I just don't want to fucking deal with it. I don't want to stack anybody. I just want to blast. I just want to cast Kindle. And I'm playing the Battle Hardened. And round 1, I get the win. Kano Mirror, right? Against someone who just had not been playing Kano as long. So they just didn't know how to sideboard or how to play the mirror. It was, it's not their fault. It's just a weird matchup if you're not familiar with it. And then round 2, I sit across from my opponent, Michael Fang, on Enigma. And Michael Fang and a couple others had a version of Enigma that was much better into our strategy into Enigma. Which was, if they're playing wards and stuff, you just kill the wards. You keep the board control, you stack them, and you kill them. His deck and a couple others were playing much more attacks. A lot more attacks. That was their entire plan into Kano. It was just like, don't play ward, just play attacks. So they had things like red and blue Spears of Surreality, Phantasmaclasms. Michael Fang pummeled me. He Command and Conquer pummeled me. I did not see that coming. And I boarded out the 3rd Blazing Aether because when you're playing against ward, you don't want to hit it off the top and you're not blocking very much, so you don't need all 3. But against the attack heavy version, you do need all 3 because it blocks 3 and you're going to have to block with it sometimes and you need to keep one in your deck. And I lost the game because I didn't have the 3rd Blazing Aether in my deck. So I'm 1-1 at the Battle Hardened. There's 9 fucking rounds to this tournament. 9 hour-long rounds of Classic Constructed in one day and then top 8. So I got to run it all the way up, right? If I lose another one, I'm out. That's kind of what I do. I just start running it. I'm just winning games, right? I get to play another Kano Mirror. We had a really good time. I got that one as well. I get to play a couple more matchups. Finally play against Azalea for the first time in the entire weekend, which is crazy. Get there as well. Things are looking up. And then I end up playing against a Zen. And I just don't quite get there. I just don't quite get there. And I lose the game. And I'm out of contention for the Battle Hardened. It was like the second to last round or something. Feels kind of bad. But I didn't even care a little bit because that was the round that they spoiled the next set where we saw that we're getting 2 more wizards and we're going back to Arya. And I was over the moon. I did not give a fuck about this Battle Hardened. All I wanted to do was talk about the new wizards. So yeah, I lost that one. I won the last round. But we were in a spot in the last round, right? Where, or the second to last round or something. I think it was the second to last round where I'm comboing off and I'm thinking really hard about my Lessons in Lava. So my hand is blue Aether Flare, which is face down like this. And I'm searching through my deck with Lessons in Lava. And I'm deciding that I need to either get red flare and I kill through everything but a blue. Or sorry, I kill if my opponent has a red. They're playing Azalea. My opponent has already pitched 2 yellows. If they have, that was you. Oh, hey. If they have another yellow, I die. And if they have a red, I win if I take red Aether Flare. And I'm getting the read of a red. But I hate chancing things. And the other thing I can do is grab a red tome. And then gamble. And I don't like that. I feel like it's less likely that I get there. And I even have the chance of not getting there at all, even if they have a red, right? So I take the red Aether Flare. But at some point while I'm flicking through the deck, I put the red Aether Flare on top. And then I'm like picking it up, putting it back on the deck, putting it down, picking it up, putting it back on the deck. And then I take my blue Aether Flare and I put it on top of the red Aether Flare. And then I'm counting my resources and I look for where my blue card is and it's just not there. And then I look at my upside down deck and there's my blue Aether Flare on the deck on top of the red Aether Flare. So I call the judge and I'm like, hey judge, I was like searching and my card's on top. That was supposed to be my hand. And the judge like is like, come on, bro, what the fuck? And then he thinks about it for a while and he comes back and he pulls out the red Aether Flare and the blue Aether Flare. And he shows my opponent. And he says, hey, you get to pick which one goes into his hand. The red Aether Flare or the blue Aether Flare. That's how we're going to resolve this. And then he gets to finish resolving his lessons in lava and put something on top. Now here's the issue. I have like no resources floating, but I have a potion and my Spellfire Clegg. So I have like 3 resources floating. If my opponent gives me the blue Aether Flare that was originally in my hand, I put red flare on top, we cast it, and then I cast, the rest of my combo or whatever. And if they have a red, they lose, and if they have a yellow, they win. However, I didn't have to use Ragamuffin's hat for this combo because I spindled into stuff. So if my opponent gives me the red Aether Flare, what I can do is I can search my deck for a red Tome of Aetherwind, crack my potion in my Spellfire Cloak, Kano the Tome of Aetherwind, and then I can like draw 2 from the tome, and if it's anything but red or like red-yellow, I'm up on resources, right? So if it's red-blue, I'm up on resources. If it's blue-blue, I'm up tremendous on resources, and it's most likely to be blue-blue. So I cast Tome, I activate Kano, I rags the red flare, and I put it on top, and then banish it. And I'm up tremendous, and my opponent dies even if they have a yellow. So I tell the judge and my opponent, and I say, hey, I am worried that my opponent is going to give me the red Aether Flare because it seems like it would be worse for me and actually improve my position. And I don't want my position to be improved because I made a mistake. Like I don't want to exploit the rules like that. Right? So I let everybody know. And I don't think anybody got what I was trying to say. I was like, there's like a bunch of people watching this game because it's like the last round of the second to last round of the Battle Hardened. We're at like the top tables. Everyone's looking. And I'm like trying to explain why giving me the red flare is worse for my opponent. And I don't even know if people believe me. But my opponent does give me the blue flare. So I do the normal combo line and they had the red. And I do, in fact, get there and get the win. But I felt really bad about that one. Because yeah, I did not mean to put the card back into my deck. That's my bad. And yeah, I ended up finishing 7-2 in the Battle Hardened. I had a really good time playing Kindle Kano. Like it's just really fun deck to play. You get to cook a lot, and I really enjoy that. It's my favorite part of Kano. But not good enough for top 8, unfortunately. I do get 500 tickets, which I go to the ticket wall, and I just get 12 Mistveil packs because there's nothing else to get. Now, I'd already opened a case of Mistveil and opened about $40 of value in the entire case because I'm incredibly unlucky when it comes to opening packs. It was like literally the worst case you've ever seen in your entire life. My best hits for like 2 boxes in a row were red foil Siren's Call, which are like a couple dollars, maybe. Like it was, I'm down tremendous on this case. So I go pick up my packs and I'm like, surely with these packs, I open something good. So I open my 12 packs and they're fucking dog shit. There's literally not a single good card in there. And I'm like, wow, that's so nice. That's so nice. And yeah, that's my Nationals story. I opened poop. I shit the bed at Nationals and I ran it up at the Battle Hardened, but didn't quite get top 8. But I had a lot of fun. And the most important thing is that I finally got the draft curse to go away. I finally actually performed in draft. Hoping I get to do it again. So part the Mistveil is the draft format of Pro Tour Amsterdam, which is in a little over a month as well. So it'll be the same draft format that I've been practicing, and I get to kind of carry that practice over, which will be really nice. And yeah, like you pointed out, the only thing that really matters is that the next set we get 2 wizards, and I'm absolutely stoked. So yeah, that's my national story. Thank you guys for coming. Appreciate it. I'm looking to be putting out more Flesh and Blood content in the near future, so keep an eye out for that. Maybe some Kano deck techs and gameplays and stuff. I will link the Kindle Kano list below in YouTube and everything. And yeah, thank you guys for coming. See you next time.